Call this meeting to order. If we could please begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if the clerk would please help me with a roll call.
Navashakine, Devereaux, Green, Lewis, McKinney, Robinson, present, Short.
And if we could please move forward with an approval of an agenda, is there a motion? Is there a second?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, the agenda is approved. Please open it to citizen participation. If there's an item on the agenda that you'd like to speak to, please join us at the podium. Share your name and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Tom Brennan, live on Sheffield Drive. Just a couple of items. First, I see we have a couple of nominees. We have a nominee for the Zoning Board of Appeals and an alternate. Just wanted to introduce myself as the chair of the ZBA and look forward to serving with you. And another just minor item, I was going through the packet and on page 244, it gives a routing number and a bank account number to the vendor. I'm wondering if that shouldn't be redacted.
Seems like that's the case.
Yeah.
Right.
Plant brand, yeah.
Oh, I talked to him about that. He said that was fine.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. That's all.
Brenda Baker, Ashton Court. Here to talk to you briefly about the Committee to Promote Superior Township. You all should have the monthly infographic, what we've been up to. I believe this month it is on page 174 out of 340 in your packet. And of course you can read it yourself. And there are copies for the audience over there as well. If you want to see what we've been up to in the last one. A couple of things I wanted to highlight. First of all, I said fresh ideas for superior people and giving the supervisor a little bit of credit for coming up with a new approach to how to ask people to be superior people, because we can't do a write-up about somebody if they don't tell us something about themselves. And usually we ask them for a photo also. But some people who would make very good superior people, this email appears out of the blue and they don't know what's going on, and we get all kind of strange reactions. And this is kind of a more neighborly approach that I think there's a certain segment of people I think we're going to have some better success. That's exciting to me because there's a lot of superior people in the township. And the other thing I wanted to highlight was the Michigan Folk School Folk Festival. We have been emphasizing that on our social media for the township. But what is new information is that the Committee to Promote Superior Township has been invited to have a table at the festival. So we will be there promoting the township at the Michigan Folk School Festival. And that's all that I have. And so I'll be here if you have any questions about the Committee to Promote Superior Township, but we are embedded once again in the what do you call that? Consent agenda. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens wish to participate, either in the audience or online? No comments?
No comments.
By closing citizen participation, I'll move to the supervisor's comments. And I know that there have been quite a few questions in the community around an update of Sycamore Meadows and Danvers Park. With both Sycamore and Danbury, I continue to work regularly with the folks at HUD, with MISHDA, and also legal services and our sheriff's office. I'm very happy that Our Lieutenant Lindsay Thompson has been very involved in these discussions, and too, Sheriff Dyer and I will be meeting with some of the leadership of the two complexes and talking about community safety, building community trust, and looking for interventions. We also, as a township, we're very happy to host the Shop with the Cop event last week, where we gave away, with the help of Christian Love Fellowship and the support of the county sheriff's office, about 220 backpacks to kids on MacArthur Boulevard. I'd like to thank also our fire department for setting the sprinkler on the ladder truck for a good 30-45 minutes, and just about the entire community was dancing in the rain. It was a 90+ degree day. It was really awesome. We were cooling off. It was, I mean, even I had to get a little bit of minutes. It was wonderful. In addition to that, continuing to work too with the Westridge Mobile Home Park and the Arbor Woods Mobile Home Parks, talking a lot about resources that are available at the state and county level to its president, and thinking about those resources that may not be as familiar to folks that are in need, and chatting with the folks, especially at Arbor Woods. There have been concerns about billing around economic justice, and thinking about what we can do to further support them and, you know, hold our mobile home parks accountable, where unfortunately there's a great deal of jurisdiction that lands at the state level, but as a community and at the county level, with the help of our partners, we can, you know, do quite a bit of advocating. Too excited to state that the Getty Rose pathway is almost at completion, and I saw folks just a few minutes ago using their bikes and pushing strollers. We're expecting all of the final punch out items to be jammed out by the end of the month, and hoping to get going on planning a ribbon cutting ceremony. I know we're very excited, and I just met with the folks over on Bromley Park. They are thrilled to have their neighborhood brought online, to be able to go to the library, to access more of our park systems, and also the Arbor Woods neighborhood as well. And with that, you know, to another fun announcement, we did start our 2 new firefighters today. So that the 2 young men have just joined us, and was very pleased to welcome them in with the chief this morning. You see a couple of items on the agenda that are not too distantly related, coming from the fire department. And relating to the speeding on Plymouth, I know that has been a consistent issue of concern for me, for the community. That is the main business corridor within Superior Township, and where the current statute, or the past statute, was very consistent that the pace of traffic needed to be at the 85th percentile, which would have landed us darn close to the 45 miles per hour that you see right now. There is a public act that went into effect in November, that I don't think any of the Michigan community has taken advantage of, that does give Michigan State Police the discretion to lower to the 50th percentile. And so, although it hasn't been done, we are working to make our case to change it even the littlest bit as folks are zooming through. And that's about the gist of my comments right now. And thank you and the audience for joining us on this very beautiful Michigan summer day. Moving forward for presentations, we do not have any. And for the consent agenda, would the board like to pull any of the items, or is the board interested in pulling anything out? We could take A, B, and C, or we could do them one by one. I leave it to the board. Ms. McKinney? Okay, is there?
Sorry, for the approval of the minutes. I would, if you want to approve them, I just want to make one change, that we change table to postpone.
Right.
Because of the new terminology. Yeah, I'd like to use that language.
Thank you. All right, is there a motion to receive and file consent agenda items that fall under A, B, and C? Or all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Moving to items removed from consent agenda, there are none. To 10, which is unfinished business, we have A, resolution 2025-43, resolution to approve service agreement with the Wetzel Group. I think we chatted about this a bit. If I want to just call the vote.
Yes.
Okay.
We need a motion and support.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second.
David Hines,
No.
Green,
No.
Lewis,
No.
McKinney,
No.
Robinson, yes. Schwartz,
The motion fails.
oh, I'm sorry, Devereaux,
The resolution to approve the service agreement with Woodville Group is not approved. Moving to B, resolution 2025-44, resolution to approve option agreement for easement with SBA Monarch Towers. Is there a motion? Support. Is there any discussion or is there a want to call the vote?
okay. Schwartz, Robinson, yes. McKinney, Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davidge Yakai,
Yes. The resolution passes. Moving to new business. Resolution 2025-46, a resolution to approve professional service agreement with Plant Moran for temporary finance assistance.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. Really quick,
Yes.
one of just one resolution that where the fees, sorry. Where the fees and such services will be based on the actual time expended. The following discounted hourly rates, county consultant, $165 per hour for seniors, the county consultant, $185 per hour, etc. And then it lists the vendor rate of $195 per hour. I just want to make sure that in that contract it says that rate.
His question is confirming that we're going with the blended rate in the contract. Mr. Robinson, can you speak to that?
he's here. Have Brian come up from Plant Moran.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, if you would prefer the blended rate, that's just fine.
Okay, we just amend.
Uniquely, yeah, I would like that as well.
Yeah.
Support to amending the resolution to reflect engagement with the blended rate of $195. Thank you. Okay, I'm ready to call the vote.
Schwartz, McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Robinson, yes. Davidge Yakai,
Yes. Yes, thank you. Moving forward to resolution 2025-47, item B, resolution to approve nomination to the zoning board of appeals.
motion.
Is there a motion?
Second. Discussion. So I recognize that from one of the applicants, one submitted a resume, now the one submitted a cover letter. Were they both supposed to submit cover letters and resumes, or they're just like a?
I was being gentle with the definition.
Oh, okay.
Generally, I wanted the cover letter and the resume, but Mr. Schofield elected to instead send a narrative.
I mean, it was a detailed cover letter, but yeah, so just my personal preference, if we can standardize that, just so that it's clear for a lot, but just wanted to know that.
Thank you.
Roll call. All right. Devereaux, Davidge Yakai, Green,
Aye.
Lewis,
Yes, I like that mixed up.
I'm saying yes.
McKinney.
Yeah.
Robinson, yes. Schwartz,
Resolution 2025-49, resolution to award contract for roof replacement for Fire Station 1. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Call the vote. Is it that? Is it?
Schwartz, Robinson, yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux. Davis Jackine,
Aye. Moving to resolution 2025-50, resolution to approve purchase of bedroom furniture for fire station number 2.
So moved. Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Want us to discuss this?
No.
Maybe they really need somebody to sleep.
They need someplace to sleep. We need new beds.
You.
I don't know. No, I don't actually have it.
I do not either.
Bedroom furniture.
Did you want to say something?
No, I was gonna talk about the roof, which is the next item.
Oh,
We already.
Oh,
we already voted.
Self-explanatory, chief.
We're coming. Right up the screen.
Already got work done.
Okay, so now bedroom.
Yes.
All right, Lewis,
Oh, okay.
Put it down.
Okay.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux. Davis Jackine,
Aye.
Robinson, yes, McKinney,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Motion passes. Resolution 2025-51, resolution to approve purchase of clerk's office computers.
So moved.
I want to amend this. No funny business. So the last communication that we received from Taz, I was able to negotiate it down to $4,995.
Okay.
So it's less than was quoted in the resolution by like $600.
Very good. Will they be installed for what they need to do for the November election?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's the
And
same
it will
one.
not interfere with September 15th?
No.
Just want to be sure. Thank you.
No, she's been working hard on this.
Yes.
And I thought that we could get a better deal, so
So same laptops and same,
it's the same exact.
Okay.
The stamp said that they could do it for 49.
okay.
We're just saying no.
So, okay, so do we need to vote? No, never mind. No, maybe.
Okay, so to amend the amount to $4,900.95.
995.
Thanks for negotiating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So does somebody make the motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, roll call vote. Robinson, yes. Schwartz, McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux. Davis Jackine,
Motion passes, resolution passes. Moving to G, resolution 2025-52, resolution to amend the rates, fees, and charges related to water services provided by the township's utility department.
Second.
Ms. McKinney, there's no discussion?
Yeah, can you explain this to us, please?
So this is the annual review by Yucca that they do for their rates that they charge Superior Township. So they have submitted a final decision that their board, they are going up by the 5.69%. We usually increase an extra 1% from what they charge us, so. For both water and sewer, both of those rates are on there.
So it's like a pass through?
No, it's not. Well, we're passing what Yucca is charging us, and then we're adding an additional 1%, which is recommended by Baker Tilly, who did our water rate and sewer rate reviews. Studies, yes.
I just want to make sure this is the yearly.
Yeah, this is annual, so it'll go into effect this fall.
And then I have to say, when we had our audit, one of the points that we wanted to brought out is because of the fact that when utilities does that, it has always been positive in terms of how it looks. So that has always been to keep their value here.
You're welcome.
Schwartz, Robinson, yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Green,
Aye.
Devereaux, Dabish Akine,
Okay. The motion passes, the resolution passes. Moving to H, resolution 2025-53, resolution to approve fiscal year 2026 AHDA purchase services agreement. Any questions or shall we call the vote? Okay,
second.
and the roll call please.
Dabish Akine,
Aye.
Devereaux, Green,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, yes. Schwartz. I think we have to go back to speak.
Yes.
You do need to go back.
Mhm.
Just think there's something.
Yeah. Let's do it again just in case. Because I have something written down.
Revisiting resolution 2025-48, resolution to approve nomination as a substitute to the zoning board of appeals. Is there a motion?
So,
Support.
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, seeing none, the resolution passes. Moving to item I, which is resolution 2025-54, resolution of support for the submission of the Hockensack County Connected Communities Grant for an engineering study of the Plymouth Road pathway extension from the Dixboro Plymouth to Tangle. Ms. Martin, could you please join us at the mic, at the podium?
So, as Supervisor mentioned, this is a resolution to submit a Connecting Communities grant. We've submitted these several times in the past. One of the supervisor and I met with Kira, who is the director of the Connecting Communities program at Washtenaw County Parks. This was what she recommended moving forward with, because of the history with the previous section of pathway in Dixboro that they had funded and the connectivity to Stabler County Park, or Stabler Farm County Park. And the resolution has the amount that we're requesting from them, which is 25,000 with a local match of 8,500. And she did recommend doing a local match, which is why we structured it like that. We're down to about 25%.
Discuss this a bit more. We also have on the table a letter from the John Waterloo Pathway Initiative Executive Director, Kip Hamp. Kip and I have been chatting for about 3-4 months now, and they worked previously in Chelsea and Dexter with the Border to Border program. And they've indicated that over the course of the next couple of years, that they're winding down the Border to Border trail work. So from sort of one auxiliary project from here in township, they have considered in continuing their nonprofit's mission, expanding now on the Connecting Communities pathways. We're estimating that about 500 to 550,000 conservatively on the lower end would be needed to raise between where the edge of Church Street is in Dixboro Village, past the Tanglewood neighborhood connecting to the intersection of All Seasons. I want to highlight that when we first started talking about pathways projects and thinking about what we can do mindfully with the general fund and what is of interest to the community, the first item that we pursued was looking at a SEMCOG grant for the Gettys Path extension, which we did apply for. It did not require board permission, but our engineers did apply for it and we were denied and was included in our board packet last year. In addition to that, I do want to say that when we went to Kira, we went to Connecting Communities in the county parks, the first option that we provide to them was the Gettys extension. And that extension was denied last year, but we asked them, what did we do wrong? If we did anything wrong, how can we make this competitive? And for a variety of reasons, which Ms. Martin can share as well as I can share, based on the scope, the cost, some of the infrastructure hurdles, as well as candidly the number of households that they would be bringing online, they felt that it wasn't going to be a good fit for them. They also had concerns about using county funds to connect to a charter school rather than a public school. And that was a big problem for some of the board members. Two, what I think is interesting about Young Waterloo Pathway Initiative and some of our stakeholders within the community is that for the Plymouth Pathway extension, with the $500,000, what we've heard consistently from groups like Ralph Wilson, from Connecting Communities, and the Community Foundation from Southeastern Michigan, is that they want to see the board to be on the same page when they're pursuing and implementing grants that are substantial. So the $8,500 for us is a simple indication that we're on board to work with them to fundraise, that the community is behind it. We understand that those foundations see that it's more complex to look at the Getty's extension. That's likely something that the township, or we're sometimes going to have to more uniquely take on. We can go to SEMCOG again, we can go to DNR again, but this is a process that we're going to have to look at concurrently. And unfortunately, in my opinion, when we worked on the Plymouth Pathway previously, we did not take advantage of all the grants that were out there. We were smart to look at DNR, we were smart to look at what the counties could support. But as the federal systems have tightened up, there are still grants that are available to support this kind of work. However, they were even more abundant. And my perspective is thinking about what core resources and what is most urgent in the community. It should come from our general fund, it should come from our law fund, from our fire fund. We'll only have an opportunity to put in a seed and we can raise privately and work with foundations to cover the rest, that it's a really interesting opportunity. And we would expect that something like this would unfold. This is just requested before an application. Should it get approved, that would be the next step to work with OHM on the engineering study. However, those funds would be spent out very likely at the end of this year, at the beginning of next, and we could begin on doing the fundraising. Mr. Hamp has indicated that he wishes to work with us and that this is a project that his organization can support, which is highly unusual. And we're really lucky that we have their interest, as well as a variety of private donors who would like to step to the plate.
Oh, and I was just gonna add too that Akira did also mention that a lot of the time, they like taking a project from start to finish. So this is just for the engineering study, which that in itself is rare for grants to fund engineering, especially the preliminary engineering and feasibility study efforts. So taking advantage of that $100,000 pot that they have for the county is really, it's a unique opportunity. And then they also offer construction dollars. That's partially what funded the path that goes through Dixboro currently that was built last year. And so she indicated that if they are thinking that this is an attractive project enough to fund preliminary engineering, that they would also be looking at funding future work and construction. The last round, or the last section of Pathway also qualified for DNR funds. So both of those are potential opportunities for this pathway going forward.
Mr. Green.
I think that's all.
Yeah, I'm on the County Park Commission.
Yeah.
As well, and I know Karen, and I'm familiar with this. You're asking us if you can apply, if you can apply for the grant. And that's right now, that's all you're asking.
Correct. We would bring a proposal in the future for engineering.
If the grant is approved, if we have the money, raise the money, then we can go on the.
Yep, just a request to apply. There'd be something separate if it goes through.
So, just to clarify, so the application, come with this $8,500 seed money, right? Or that after that.
She just heard
So it's an application to do an engineering study. The engineering study we're estimating costs about $32,500. And we're suggesting that we ask the county to pay for $25,000 of that. So nothing gets spent on your end until we do the engineering study.
Which would still require board approval.
Okay, so if at some point I decided I wasn't comfortable with moving forward with this project, then I could, when it comes back to the board, I could look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so thank you.
Yeah.
So the second question, that I have is, it's related, but not directly related to this application. So as far as, funding resources, Claire, I reviewed the elevation report, for the different projects we have involved, and I recognize that for the Gettysburg pathway, it says funding yet to be identified. And so I know, like, with this project, we're talking about, fundraising, we move forward with this study. So will we be considering doing the same thing for the Gettysburg pathway?
I can't speak to the conversations that Emily has had with HWPI, but I think that we would continue looking through other grant opportunities that pop up. We did apply for that SEMCOG grant, hoping to get some preliminary engineering work. The challenge with that one is that we know it's going to be probably upwards of $1 million because of the 2 bridge crossings. And so it's going to need probably a bigger grant, such as a TAP grant that funded the previous section. So there's significant natural features challenges with that pathway.
Sorry, can you say that? Did you say it would be over $1 million that we'd be looking to get from Gettys?
That's just very, we haven't done the preliminary engineering study. So, but I can tell you it is a higher dollar pathway segment for sure because of the 2 bridges.
Right, and just for clarity, so that folks at home can understand, and also for me as well. You mentioned some of like the geographical features that make it more challenging on Gettys. Can you speak specifically to what those challenges are?
Yeah, so there are 2 stream crossings through there that Gettys Road, there are bridges or large culverts. And in order to get a EGLE permit, which is the regulating body for an environment for water courses, then we would need to most likely install a clear span bridge, which I don't know if you guys have a bridge in your system, but it has the prefabricated bridges that you see in several county parks around here. So those tend to be on the pricier side because they have to be fabricated by like a contact or something like that. And then also abutments installed, all that they have to be, and they also generally have to be rated for ambulance traffic due to the pathway regulations. So there's just some additional challenges with installing the bridges on pathways.
Something, I'm sorry. I just want to stress to the public and to the board that we are actively pursuing grant options, fundraising options for both extensions concurrently since I've gotten into this position. And those were our first conversations, is how can we serve needs of all of our residents and make sure that we can look at the unique features of both paths and say, like, we have an opportunity connecting communities in part because they want to connect to county assets. And they want to connect to the boat school. They want to connect to Stapler Farms. And their goal is to eventually reach there. And so they're especially interested in helping to work with us because they have different assets that they're interested in tying into. That unfortunately, the Gettys extension doesn't have. And 2, they looked at rooftops and felt that bringing online some of the neighborhoods that are into access extension on Plymouth would be pretty significant for them.
Yeah, and the extension on Getty, since the previous segment is connected to the Bromley Park condominiums already, I know like you would have to go all the way through them. That they were looking at, like you said, rooftops, and so they would connect minimal rooftops in there.
I'm not a bridge expert, but I know we worked on the one on Prospect for years, trying to get that bridge. Is it gonna be similar to that, or is it gonna be?
I believe the one on Prospect is a boardwalk.
So that's.
So it's similar, but bridges per foot are more expensive.
That's more expensive?
Yeah, boardwalks are less expensive than bridges, but still expensive. It's like boardwalks are like 10 times the cost of regular path, and then bridges are an additional cost beyond that, but boardwalks can span greater lengths.
We
So
want something nice.
yes, it would be nice. I mean, there's those pathway bridges all over the Washtenaw County
I
area.
was trying to see if we might do, try to visualize them. I'm sure I've seen it, but I just can't. To me, I just called all bridges bridges.
Yeah, if you've been on the border to border pathway, there's tons of them. The weathering steel that go up
Okay.
above. Yeah, so
Yeah.
a boardwalk typically will just have the rails on the sides.
Okay.
The bridges, the structure is above.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yes.
And they last a lot longer as well.
Yes, because they're not made out of timber.
Well, I'm excited about Gary's Road. I'm really excited about that. We can finally connect.
It's a beautiful project and I've been getting so much positive feedback. Thank you for making sure that we stay on track with our timeline.
Yeah.
We've worked on that for years.
Yes, that's an exciting one to get done. There was a little bit of a delay with easements, but I think now that we're through that hurdle, yeah, it's I think especially once the grass starts growing in the fall, it'll be beautiful. So I know it was sorely needed because every time I was out there, even pre-pathway, there were people like I even saw a wheelchair on the side on the shoulder. So it seems sorely needed.
Last question, I think, for me. So, and I just want to make sure I understood this correctly. So the connecting communities, they're wrapping up like their funding, so they're only gonna be doing this for a couple more years, right?
I think that's all they have in their current round, but I believe it's supported by the millage. So if the millage gets renewed, and you could speak to that as a county commissioner, so it's their current round might only go for a couple more years, but I think they have every intention to ask the voters to extend the millage.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
So the reason why I'm asking all of these questions is because I want the public to recognize that this board very much understands the feelings from the public as far as when projects are funded in the Plymouth area versus when they're funded Gettys, what folks refer to as South Gettys and North Gettys. And the reason I'm asking all of these questions is because it's imperative to me that this board operate in a way that is equitable. From what I can hear from the supervisor, we have made several efforts to fund the Gettys pathway, and I will continue to hold her to that expectation. And also what I'm hearing from OHM and also from the supervisor is that the Gettys project is substantially more expensive and requires more detailed work. This is why it's been more of a challenge to get grants such as from SEMCOG because of the challenges that exist there. And so what I just want to, again, kind of summarize for the public is that I recognize the funds that are out there. I think it's imperative for this board, especially given our financial situation, to take advantage of opportunities that are available for us to save money in our general funds and make sure that we are using that money in a way that is equitable. And so, I've been listening very intently. And I think I have all the information today. Reading this.
To add to your point, I think it's important that we ask those questions. We share those questions and answers with the public. And candidly, I have mixed feelings about putting this on the agenda. I was concerned how it could be perceived, but I know, and we had documentation indicating the work that we've done for both extensions. And I do think it's a very unusual opportunity to have a group like HWPI wanting to work with us and to fundraise and to have stakeholders that can be private donors with a project like this. And knowing too that the county is interested in taking in different increments over the long term so they can connect more of their assets. It's compelling and there's an unusual opportunity there. But it's really important that all the information is shared and the questions are very thoughtful and I appreciate it.
I just want to say, Superior Township, we were one of the first townships to start doing trails in different communities. And our very first one was MacArthur Boulevard. And ever since we got MacArthur, we've been things south of Gettys here. So I have confidence that this is gonna go through because it's so greatly needed in our community. And I feel good about it. This is not the first time that we've gone through these type of situations, trying to connect the trail. It's always been an issue with money, but they've always found it. I don't know how they can do it, but I feel confident that this will happen.
Well, I appreciate those comments, Trustee McKinney, and if you could just do me a small favor with the mic, just so the folks on Zoom can hear you. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
And I just want to add to what you said too, that I've heard from the road commission who we work with for the SEMCOG grants, and from County Clerk before that, like Superior is one of the communities that they trust to keep continuing the progress because they've seen it over and over, like the next segment gets built. And so we're just slowly plugging away at each one. And if you can pull in private money for one path, then that frees up maybe another source that we would have applied for that path, for like a Geddes path. So, I think there's many opportunities there.
And once we started, all communities started. So we like the trailblazers for trail, and we really are Washington County, Superior Township as trailblazer.
Right.
Call the vote.
Now we have to make a motion.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Do the roll call. David Shakai,
Aye.
Devereaux, Green,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, yes, Schwartz.
Motion passes.
We'll get to work submitting the application.
A resolution, the item J, 2025-55, to offer hiring moratorium for the utility department.
So
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Is it my turn?
After reading the information that we got this evening, we will discuss it.
Yeah, I was planning to discuss it around the discussion on hiring groups. Especially relates to general fund.
So I feel like I know where your head is at. And just, so I share those concerns. The utility fund is in a healthy space, is separate from our general fund, which I believe is where the concerns are coming from for you. So just so the public is aware, and I know the supervisor is planning to bring this up. I'll actually yield the floor to you if you wanna,
Yeah, let's do it.
if you wanna talk about it.
So they can understand why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
Why, and that's important to me that you know why I'm feeling this way right now. So go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. I was going to bring this up under our discussion around hiring and if we were in a place where we could open things back up again, but I'll mention it now since it seems appropriate. We received the treasurer and I from the Michigan Department of Treasury, a couple of folks there that work on local governments and school services that analyze communities' fiscal health, a message that read, and we got it about a week ago. Inquiry regarding recent financial reporting for Superior Charter Township. I'm submitting this letter in the board packet so everybody can take a look for themselves. But essentially they reached out and the question that they gave is, why has your general fund dropped so significantly? It's gotten our attention. Do you need help? If so, please tell us what help you need. And can this be explained over an email? Or if not, do we need to discuss this further? I got together with our auditor, Ken Polka, and I submitted a response, but I did discuss it with him first, indicating that they were significant overrun costs and unplanned costs from fiscal years 23 and 24 that you will see reflected also in our budget amendments. There are significant retainers and overages that were incurred. But my belief is that over the next year or two that we can rectify the situation and rebuild, to the point about looking at fundraising versus going after the general fund. I think that sometimes there are opportunities to do hard work, that hard work was not done. And I think that this board and, our team are looking to do what's best for the community and not, taking a position that is more myopic, and sometimes that I realize is difficult. But it is important to know that the Michigan Department of Treasury is concerned. We did get their attention. Our auditor was surprised that we received this letter. I know that there were board members that thought that we would not receive a letter like this with our deficit spending in the general fund. I candidly have been nervous about it for some time. And two, if you take a look at the budget amendments, I think that the SBA agreement, that the lump sum is gonna help and will take some eyes off of us. But even so, I found ways in speaking with our auditors and our former controller to charge off different services to unique accounts, pulling about $90,000 out of the general fund. Even so, we're gonna be overspending by another $50 or so thousand dollars, even after we have adjustments at the end of the year. So just to Mr. Green's point, this is uniquely related to the general fund. The utility department is an enterprise fund, and although we have treated our employees similarly that are non-unionized in terms of raises and in terms of hiring practices, I do see that there has been a significant need for hiring within that department. And I do think that Ms. Burton has especially one position, the one specialist position that needs to be filled. So I do support lifting the hiring moratorium for the utility department. We'll still have checks in terms of positions that need to come before the board, that need to be vetted. In no way does this make, the utility departments, laissez-faire, some sort of, free for all. But we do really need to hone in on the general funds and be really thoughtful about what we're doing with our insurance practices, our spending practices, our salary practices, and more.
Well, this really saddens me because we have never, ever received anything like this from the state treasury. Superior Township, we were always had a A- rating, our township. We were always fiscally strong. And this just saddens me to get something like this. We were a township that was always well respected on every level. And it's just, and that's why I'm concerned about the utility department, not because I don't want to look the hiring, but after reading this, when you walk through the door, you want to be concerned, make sure all your departments are healthy. Did they say our utility department was, as far as the funds go, is it?
They didn't speak to it. The letter uniquely reads, it says, we notice Superior to our township experienced a significant drop in general fund balance reflected in the most recent financial reporting.
So it's
You
just
need
the
to call-
general fund.
You call out the general fund.
Well, I can support lifting the freeze on utilities. I can do that. Because I do know you need the help, Mary. And I want to support you and your department. But we just need to watch our departments very closely.
Yes.
Every department. And I can support lifting the freeze moving forward.
And if, just really quickly, if I can, speak to Brenda's sadness and kind of receiving this letter. I think for me, as a neuro trustee, there was a lot of catching up I had to do and learning about, our previous history and also learning about last year's practices and how we never. What I will say is that even though this is disheartening and we obviously don't want to be put in a situation like this, I do think that this is an opportunity for us to be creative in the way that we seek our resources, be clear in how we communicate to the public about what those resources are, and we feel the need to utilize those resources. And to what the supervisor spoke to earlier, I think that this board is uniquely positioned to do work that maybe wasn't previously done. And so I'll just say, with every challenge there's opportunity. And so I think that opportunity exists for us now, and I look forward to working with this board to move us forward. So, and I'm sorry for that. It's sad for not just us as a board, but for our residents as well.
Yeah, this is just, we used to take great pride and brag about how fiscally sound we were. Other communities always wanted to follow Superior.
No, it's a disappointing letter. But I thought it would be.
We'll get there. We'll get back there.
So do we need to take a vote?
Yeah, it's a roll
Do we have promotions there?
No, this is just one position that we're hiring for utilities, is that correct?
Yes.
And which position is that, Mary?
Billy.
Because you do need some help.
Mhm.
The roll call.
You've got the motion support, correct? Okay.
Robinson, yes. McKinney,
Yes.
Schwartz, Lewis,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davish Yakine,
Yes. The motion passes. Okay, resolution 55556, resolution to approve the development agreement for the Meadows at Hawthorne Mill Phase 1.
Are we gonna go back to, are we gonna we're not gonna discuss general fund?
I think that so we don't have a resolution to change anything, but under discussion A, there is an opportunity to discuss the general fund. So looking to 2025-56, the fair motion.
make a motion.
You make a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Second.
Discussion? Would you gentlemen mind coming to the podium and tell us a little bit more about this project?
Good evening, Bill Shore with Fulton, Michigan. This is Derek Heim, our project engineer with Atwell. Go through, you've got a long history with the project.
Welcome, glad to see you all again. We're here for the final step here to move the first phase of development for the Meadows and Hawthorne Mill to construction. Last step here is to get the development agreement approved. It lays out a number of conditions for development, road improvement agreement with road commission and various steps for public infrastructure improvements that we're doing with the project. So I think we've worked through the sum total of the project with the planning commission, with the township staff moving forward. So I think everybody at this point was in support of it. So if you have any questions, we're here to answer them and look forward to getting under construction.
You do have a question.
Yes.
Where did you rank the tree fund and tree mitigation?
So we are staging the tree front because we're only developing phase 1 of the project right now, which is the northernmost component of that. So the majority of the tree removal actually occurs in the latter stages of the project. So up front, we are reimbursing, paying into the fund for what is impacted in stage 1. And then in the later stages, it balances out the rest of the equation.
Are there any other questions? Well, I've heard about this project for a long time.
It's been around a while, and we're glad that we're finally here.
So we call the vote.
Davish Yakine,
Aye.
Devereaux, Green, Lewis,
Yes.
McKinney,
Yes.
Robinson, yes. Schwartz,
Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, moving to resolution 2025-7, budget amendments for all funds. Is there a motion?
motion,
Is there a support?
Support.
support,
That's, I do.
Is there one to discuss or to call the vote? Considering?
Oh, I will just say that, like, the motivation, my thought was still right now.
I'll just forward the two big items were well, there's actually three big things on this thing. That there were retainer costs from the past 2 years that hadn't been passed into the 25 budgets that I wasn't aware of, that Ms. Mason wasn't aware of, and we're correcting for now.
Which impacted the general fund.
In fact, the general fund. There's some retainers related to our engineering primarily, and then also the zoning ordinance rewrite had not been included. So those impacted us negatively too would impact us negatively is that only a couple of weeks ago, we were confirmed that there'd be an election in November for Whiskey. So that takes a bit out as well. Some of it will be reimbursed. And something that's affecting us positively though is charging services for me and for my deputy to other ones. It's a practice that in our township uses as well as Pittsfield and ran it by our auditors, and that's something the controller basically spoken about, and something that I wanted to do to, save us some money, because I do spend a lot of time with our sheriff's department, our fire department, among others, and not just, uniquely taking care of what would be considered general fund issues or just like general constituent services, but more specialized projects. Yeah.
Is that, I know you said it was, done in Ann Arbor Township. So, but this will be the first year that we've done that, where you're charging. Okay.
Yeah.
Your deputy as well?
And we did run it by the auditors and our controller would be comfortable with it as well. And hopefully Mr. Cameron likes it too. I think it's productive.
And then some.
Great, thank you. Okay. So those are the items that I thought were good point out. So we call the vote.
Schwartz. McKinney,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Robinson, yes. Green,
Yes.
Devereaux, Davis Yakon,
Yes. Resolution passes. Moving to our discussions, our first is relating to the hiring freeze. We tapped into this a bit. Speaking about the resolution relating to employee departments. What I would want to discuss is just taking a look at our budget amendments and seeing that we are projected to spend more than the original motion. Discussion. Discussion?
So,
Support.
Okay. Okay. We currently projected to spend more than we anticipated for the 25 budget based on some of those items that I just mentioned. And then two, taking a look at this letter from Treasury, where our current spend is, and knowing that we have got some attention on us, I think that's just about all I need to know.
yeah. As everybody at this table is well aware, I have been calling for the hiring of HR, in some form or fashion. I still recognize that need, but obviously given where the general fund is, I think it's in our best interest to continue the whole course until we improve. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say at this point.
Is it kidding?
I have a concern that when we first had the hiring freeze, how everyone came to us and wanted raises, not realizing the situation the township was in. We had a hiring freeze and everyone wanted raises, and then we gave the raises to the employees when we should not have done that. Now, what's gonna happen, we said to the employees, as soon as the hiring freeze is over, you'll get the raises. Not realizing that when that comes, it could be 2 or 3 or 4 years from now, how much money we're gonna have to pay out.
I agree.
I mean,
I did, the exception of Ms. Mason and, the role in the utility department, it wasn't something that I was comfortable with for that very reason.
and we did this, we did that, you guys, we gave raises when we were in this financial situation when we should not have given anybody.
So to that point, and we don't have the personal manual on today, that we're gonna concern that could be addressed with Mason unavailable today.
I don't think it was complete. But you're talking about the personnel manual? Yeah, I don't think it was finished.
Okay. But something that I inserted in there, and Ms. Deborah pointed out during our work session, is that we needed to come up with a cadence of when folks can ask for raises. And what I inserted, what I support is just doing it cleanly once a year. If they're interested, if it's appropriate and based on performance.
Yeah. So
I've never seen raises given out like candy bars.
I agree.
So, yeah,
Yes,
so,
Mr. Green,
yeah, so to that point, I do think that based on what we discussed in the, working session or last working session, at that point, we wanted to do that. What I will also say is that, and at least for me, the process was never clear. As to how we should expect to give, or how employees should expect to receive raises. Either by, merit based or annually, as we're discussing now. And again, what I've learned in my brief time in this role is that I think communication and transparency is important. And Ms. McKinney, while I very much respect your point, and I think it's valid, I do think, and I am, willing to hold my hand up here and say like this is a learning experience for me, because I think that at least for me, my goal was to recognize the work and effort of our employees, while also understanding that there have been a lack of clarity and consistency in how the process should proceed moving forward, and that we needed to address that, which I think we're working on right now with the employee manual. And so, again, kind of like similar as to, what I mentioned with the receiving this letter. I think, as long as we take as long as we take this opportunity as a learning experience, I think future boards will benefit from it. And we also now are going to have a clear documented process. And so while I recognize that it was messy, I think, moving forward, we're going to be better off for it, even recognizing that we're likely going to have to continue to hire freeze as related to the general fund. Whereas the utility employees would have been separate. But given still your concern, I recognize that, potentially occur.
For example, and I'm not sure how this works, but I know this will take our bond rating down. And we've always been able to get a good rating. We've always got the best rating, interest rate. Now, let's say if there's an emergency situation, and let's hope that doesn't happen for utilities, and we have to borrow some money for a sewer or whatever, for example. And if we had to take out a bond, would this affect, even though it's not affecting utilities, but it would be Superior Township having to borrow the money, would it affect that type of emergency, us borrowing the money, in case utilities or the fire department needed something?
It will be looked at as a whole. Unit.
That's not good. So we need to look at the utility department, the worst scenario if we had to borrow money, and we might not, but just in case, we need to prepare ourselves for the worst. Our infrastructure is not the greatest. And if we had to borrow something, what would we do for utilities or fire if we had to borrow? You know what I mean?
I think it's a fair point. It's a very fair point.
So we need to talk with, I would like you to talk with the auditors or the state or whomever in case of an emergency and we need to borrow money. How would this affect it?
Okay. The group ready to move to discussing street sweeping? Or can we set with the hiring freeze?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Freeze it.
Alright, closing the discussion A and moving to B. Mr. Green and Ms. Devereaux brought up, with both of you a little bit, relating to an interest in street sweeping, particularly where there's been additional flooding. And that would be Oak Brook and. Good to see you. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Particularly around Oak Brook and Washington Square, where we've seen additional flooding and infrastructure not working in a way that is satisfactory for our residents or acceptable. A week ago, Chief Chevret and I, as well as Ms. Burton, Mr. Harding, a couple of representatives from the Roads Commission, as well as Ms. Martin with OHM, our engineers, sat down and took a look at all of our assets and talking about our systems and the way they're functioning. Chief Sherrod and I went out to some of the folks in Oak Brook, knocked on the door and did a hello, and we were looking at the way that the drainage is taking place, the congestion, you know, some of the sumps that are in the infrastructure, and sincerely, you know, street sweeping, I think is a solution that can help. I did get a quote from the Roads Commission. They anticipated that in addition to their September run that they do throughout the community and their April, May run, if we were to do June, July, and August, and perhaps one more getting us to a fit, they quoted about $17,000. And we could put that into our road funding packet, and they would be able to apply a component of match to that. So it would be discounted and something that we could plan for. They will go out into the neighborhoods of Oak Brook and Washington Square for sure, where they're seeing the additional buildup. Towards the end of September, they recommended that as the leaves begin to fall, that we do some public service announcements throughout the community to please make sure that we're tidying up our leaves, to encourage neighbors to pick up debris from trees so that there's less waste that can, you know, block up our drains and our sewage systems. They ultimately too, something that I found unusual, and Ms. Martin can speak to this too, is there was you know, we found a lack of understanding or awareness of who controlled what assets, whether it was the township, whether it was the drain commission. And to me, there seemed to be uncertainty around how the infrastructure connected to drains, to culverts, and there seemed to be a focus on the actual flow through of the drain, or rather, you know, the sewage system, the drain system. But I got some questions about systems, and we're gonna, you know, continue these conversations. Ms. McKinney.
The street sweeping, I like that, but the residents, we need to make them aware that they can't, which they have done, it has happened in the past. They can't break their leaves out on the streets and expect the street sweepers to get it, because that was one of the biggest problems we had once. That they just simply didn't bag the leaves, they swept them on the curb and wanted the street sweepers.
So Mr.
So,
I'm sorry.
you need to make that clear to the residents, no leaves.
No worries. And Mr. Lake did indicate that had been a problem before, and it was like clogging a room, if you could be right involved. And two, that's why they like to do their last cleaning in September and not in October when the leaves are starting to drop.
So, sorry, just to clarify, so you said this week, June, July, August, and September, or is that in addition to?
We did get in about 5 extra with them
Mhm.
for 17,000, and they would kick in a match.
Right,
And
and
we
so
put in
that,
our full funding packet.
so that would apply to next fiscal year then?
Yes, because the last one that they would do anyway would be in September. And then I would recommend that we find ways creatively to blast out to the community to be mindful about how we're, you know, minding our leaves.
Okay, so
I like it if we can keep people from getting their leaves out there.
Sure, so I do wanna just say, you know, I thank you for the work that you've done on that. The proposal that me and trustee Devereaux talked about was essentially like a pilot program to see if the street sweeping would help. And it was, you know, started as soon as we were able to approve a resolution. Again, given that we understand where our general fund is now, I recognize the need to better plan for that. So I think, and as far as, you know, the concern around jurisdiction, which had to be polite, it's irritated me, because when calling on behalf of residents, you essentially get passed, you get passed around. And that's whose responsibility is. So, in those conversations, have there been any clarity as far as who it is residents should be reaching out to when we're having such significant flooding issues?
I am still being told to call the road commission, just as soon as the water's coming down. Do you want to talk a little bit about the assets and some of the things that you've been discovering? Because I think it's really interesting.
So the jurisdiction kind of depends on when the subdivision was built. So that's what we've discovered in talking to Adam at the road commission. Basically, the older subdivisions, those are all public roads. So they would be under the Washington County Road Commission jurisdiction that includes all the storm. So street sweeping would be kind of under their purview, and my understanding is they already do it a couple times a year and would have no problem adding more, obviously, with township funds. But once you get into like early 2000s era subdivisions, so some of like the Prospect Points, that area, then you start getting like a combo of Washington County Water Resources, what some people call the Drain Commission, and the Road Commission. Generally in those subdivisions, the Road Commission is still responsible for the road system, but there's more county drains within those systems. For instance, in the older system, they didn't have the same regulations about like detention basins and that kind of stuff. So there wasn't they might only have like one drain that the Drain Commission is responsible for maintaining. For instance, like the Vassy Foster drain that goes through that section of town. Then further on down the line, in maybe like 2010 era, the Road Commission stopped accepting any new roads. So any of the newer subdivisions are the responsibility of the HOA to maintain. And so if there's sweeping issues in those subdivisions, that would be up to the HOA to be calling in for sweeping. The same thing with winter maintenance, if you get called about winter maintenance, that kind of thing. And those might still have drain districts or county drain easements. But they, as they've gone further along, they also in their development improvements may have some sort of agreement between the HOA and the Drain Commission of who has responsibility. So in those more recent subdivisions, it really gets kind of complicated. And the HOA is like the first line of defense, because most new neighborhoods are developed as subdivisions. So it's really, if you've got a public road, the first call should be the Road Commission. That would be like the most of the facilities in the road are the Road Commission. The one exception to that, it's more complicated, is any like apartment complexes. Those are all private ownership. So sometimes at the driveway approaches, it kind of looks like the road, but it's actually a private sewer. So it really hard to keep track of. So we're investigating ways to add that into the township's GIS system so that it's a little more straightforward. If you guys have a problem with the drains, you're going to click on it and go, oh, that's not us. So, and know who to call.
So yeah, so again, I like this plan. I'm looking forward to seeing it formalized in resolution. You know, my biggest concern is that one issue that we talked about this in the past, specifically on Stanford. But when I drove in there, sorry, that was really when I drove to the neighborhood of Oak Brook, Washington Square, like
Harvest Lane.
yeah, Harvest Lane up as well. Like those are all neighborhoods that experience pretty significant flooding. And so if it is something that we have to do a better job of making residents like more conscious of and aware of, specifically like when they're bagging up leaves or when they're doing yard work, like I want to see an effort for that done sooner rather than later. Because whatever we can do to expedite ensuring that we don't have these severe flooding experiences, because I understand like calling the road commission, but I mean the last time we had a significant flood, it had been raining for like 25 minutes and the street had already flooded because of the amount of rain that we received. And so I don't want, and I know like a lot of our residents have assumed that they're burning themselves to get out there and like clean the drain and all of those things, but especially when you have residents who might have special needs or things like that, like that's harder for them to get out there and do. And so I would like to see that practice be like eliminated as soon as possible. And so those who are listening online to those that are in the public, when you're doing your yard work, or if you see your neighbor, you see your drain, getting out there and kind of backing up, let's be neighborly, let's go out there and help one another. Because, this is something that as a township board member, I would love to snap my fingers and make it go away as soon as possible. Having dug into this issue for several months now, having worked with the supervisor to try and address it, I don't believe that that's something that we're gonna be able to do, despite fiscally. And so I'm making a public plea right now, like, hey, let's do a better job of making sure that we're taking care of our yard waste appropriately. And then when we do have those big storms, let's all grab a pair of rain boots and a rake, and let's get out there and try and help our neighbors. I know that's not something that we want to do or should have to do, but that's unfortunately the situation that we're in. And so I just want to say continue to be patient with us as we try to address this issue moving forward. But I do think the plan the supervisor has laid out is good. And I recognize that for residents that have been dealing with this for a long time, that's is sufficient. It's not what you want to hear. I understand. But I do think that's probably the best that we could do at this time.
And then, so not just unique to street sweep, but thinking about systems as a whole, since that's where this conversation is going. The road commission is installing a couple of additional stormwater catching structures along with Stanford. And two, there is still work that is ongoing that they haven't quite given me clarity on, but looking towards the downflow and the outflow down Stanford, looking out for us Cheney School. The Drain Commission is conducting some sort of infrastructure work and how that connects and plays out and pulls through the systems. We'll see how much benefit that takes place.
That's great. Thank you. When are those catch drains supposed to be?
We call them structures and also like a catch basin.
Okay.
There's different, there's different terms for them. They are expanding them. I want to say it's like 36 by 36 or something like that. I can't quite remember what the dimensions were. I talked to Adam about this a couple of months ago, but that's something that they're pursuing quite soon.
Okay. But no, like, can't give you like a month for.
They need to sound like September, I want to say. I can't remember all the time.
Okay.
It was before fall.
We can follow up.
Months ago. Okay.
Can we add? Can I make a motion to add something to discussion as a few minutes?
Yeah, we said it already. If do you want to maybe edit during presentations? All right, moving to 14, bills for payment and record of disbursements. Is there a motion?
A second.
A roll call?
Dennis Shannon,
Aye.
Deborah, Green,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yeah.
Kenny,
Yes.
Robinson, yes, Schwartz,
The bills are paid. All right, moving to fees and petitions. And so we'll start with you.
I went to, the Pennsylvania Library August 9th, and I went to Ypsilanti Library on August 9th, and they offered shredding for all residents free. I would like, and that was really nice. I would like, and I know Ipsy Township, they do it in October, but it's just for their residents only. Can we look into something like that for our residents? I don't know if we can, if we have the right location, but if we did, we would leave that up to the sheriff department and the fire department to decide where we can offer that service here in the township. And I don't think that with the, maybe we can borrow money from the utility. But it's not real expensive, it's just. It's not real expensive, I think it was like $700, well, maybe $1,200, but if we belong to something with the county, we could get it half price. And I think that would be really nice to offer free shredding for our residents. You can get the information from Lisa, the director of the Ypsilanti Library. I think that would be nice. And where, I don't know, but we'll leave it at the public, leave it with the public safety people to decide. If it's possible. And maybe we can borrow the money from utility.
I was looking at the fire department.
Oh, the fire department.
That's it.
Borrow from the fire department.
They're very healthy, so our bond bidding will be good because parks, fire and utilities are very, very healthy department. Extremely.
No park is general fund.
Yeah, parks is part of general fund, but if we separate out, they're still very healthy. Very.
I see we've got a thing petition from Mr. Collins.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to discuss three things if possible. First, about the water sewage situation about the flooding. It's just an idea that I've been trying to address with the city of Ypsilanti. Just as the winter time comes and there's sidewalks and there's little rods that companies stick in the ground where the sidewalks are at, so they can identify where the sidewalk and the road meets. Medicine is suggested to put those type of rods in high flooded areas. So when the water does collect in that area and the drains are clogged up, it's easier to identify to go to that area where the rods are at and clean those areas out, so it can help residents identify flood areas. Because I do go around in areas where I know where there's mud at, and I do get the shovel out and I try to discard some of the debris that goes into those areas. So having just small rods in high flood areas only in the rainy season is very helpful, and then you can always remove them, reuse them at a later date and time. That's just an idea. The second one is it goes with Ms. Kimmy talked about the shredding. Our annual event that we do is that we ask residents to come to a couple of our events to help shred newspaper, help shred their recycled mail, non-glossy, to create seed biscuits. Seed biscuits is something that we do for the past 20 years to create awareness about pollinators by recycling that paper by shredding it and adding wildflower mixture. We make seed balls out of it and we disperse those out to the community as needed. Reason why we do that, because we're trying to eliminate waste that goes into landfills, such as extra paper, bills, and things of that nature that are sensitive. We have 3 shredders that we purchased. They make micro cuts compared to standard shredded cut. So that way your contents is private. It's just a suggestion. That way, we're trying to create more diversity with pollinators such as bees, hummingbirds, and butterflies. Reason why we do the seed biscuits is to get kids involved, to get the community of aging involved in the community, to create awareness that we have a lot of clutter, and the way to getting rid of a lot of clutter is to shred it and make it into seed balls. Reason why we call it seed biscuits, because we are in a politically sensitive environment where you talk about seed bombs. You cannot use the words in school, so we created the word seed biscuits to make it more friendlier. My next item that I want to discuss is that we are in our 3rd week of Clay Hill Community Farm and Garden. We have had a good response of the community of the first week, even though it's our 3rd week. Our first week, we had a small foot traffic coming from Danbury Green, Sycamore Meadows, and also former and present board members to come through. And I thank both boards for coming through. But as we got to the 2nd and 3rd week, traffic has started to build up. We are open Monday. No, take that back. We have been open for Saturday, starting off just 1 day a week. But with the produce that we have coming online and keep from eliminating food waste, we have added a 3rd day. So it would be Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 5 and Wednesday from 10 to 5. The reason why we did that is because Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 5, Wednesday from 10 to 5. And I apologize, I probably gave the wrong date and time, but those are the 3 days that we try and do as much as we can, because I am one person trying to harvest at 4:30 to 9 in the morning, set up the tent, and come out to MacArthur and Harris. I love the opportunity of being out into the community, and I thank both previous and future and present board for giving us the opportunity to be where we at. Yes, so it's been a fun opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments? Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, bear with me because I have to sort through quite a few. This comment is from Mrs. Muhammad. Please speak into the microphones as often we can't hear you. Also, be aware that during recess/breaks, your mics are still hot and we can hear you on Zoom. This comment is from Mrs. Muhammad. I agree with Mrs. McGill concerning the absences of board members being an issue and her statement that if they are unable to uphold their commitments, they shouldn't be getting paid by the residents. I'd also like to know if RFPs have gone out to obtain a new auditing firm, and if not, why not? As the township enters the fourth quarter, this should be a priority. Not having a consulting firm in place is not a good reason to not have begun this process. Clerk Robinson, you do not want your hesitancy to move on this to be the reason once again use the former firm because you didn't get RFPs in time. This is from Rhonda McGill. Please share my statement and pleas and petitions. We are watching and want board members that will be in attendance at meetings. This is from Mrs. Muhammad. I agree with Mrs. McGill concerning the absences of, that was repeated, sorry. This is from Irma Golden. Add this to pleas and petitions. A forensic audit is necessary. A new auditor is necessary for truth, transparency, and accountability. From Rhonda McGill. When is the newsletter coming back? Not everyone is dialed into the meetings. This comment is from Steph. I would like to hear an update on expanded lighting options for the Gettys Ridge subdivision beyond the single light that was proposed by DTE last meeting that would be wildly insufficient in addressing any of the safety issues residents have repeatedly voiced. I would also like to know the status of the Gettys Ridge sign that was allocated in this fiscal year's budget and was postponed, being built pending completion of the Gettys Pathway project. Now that the path is nearing completion, what is the ETA on finishing the signage for the Gettys Ridge subdivision? Rhonda McGill seconds that. This is from Jan W. I don't think a Gettys Ridge sign is needed, especially given the current financial situation. And I believe that is all of our comments.
Can I just respond to?
Sure.
RFP?
Don't generally recommend responding to all the comments, but if you would please, yeah.
I just wanted to let everybody know the RFP is done and it's going out tomorrow for the auditor service.
Thank you. Yeah, for the Oakbrook sign, it took several months to get the check from the insurance company. And then there was some debate about how to create a sign that is not so apt to be hit. It's been hit, I think, 2 or 3 times, and just twice in the last few years. This is the second time that I have seen a record of the township picking up the tab for the sign, which we're doing, but it is a little bit unusual rather than an HOA thing for the neighborhood. But it is being refurbished right now. Ms. Mason is sending the check into the sign company to finish gussing up the sign and doing all the necessary repairs, and I hope that we'll get it installed ASAP. And 2, I'm working on getting the sign that Mr. Green brought up adjusted as well, so there's better visibility, but that's a part of the project too.
Wonder if the current location that the sign is in has been hit several times, at least twice this year in the process. What about putting it on that berm? Like when you come, when you come in from Clark, turn in, right?
Yeah.
That berm sitting there.
I thought that would be interesting too, and I think that we looked into it.
You know that berm?
I don't think that we own it. was the problem. I went out and looked at it. Yeah, I thought that would be a secret place to put it as well.
You know, the local.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it. Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Sorry, I have a quick.
All right, I was looking at this beginning. Mr. Green.
So I just wanted our Superior Township residents to be aware, there's a really great event that's being put on by the library. So August 21st is actually gonna be at the main library branch on Michigan. And there's the pull up and plug in event. It's an event for residents to get IDs. It's gonna be covered by the library, so that's a great resource for folks if you're in search of an ID, especially given this current climate that we're living in. I would also, they're also gonna be having resources on voter education registration. And other additional community resources and support services such as the clothing giveaway and free toiletries. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that.
Is that gonna be like just like name, address?
Real IDs?
Yeah, like your regular, your general state ID. Yeah.
Support.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Well,
We have one more comment. This is from Rhonda McGill. Gettysbridge has not had a sign. She's referring to Oak Brook.
That's right. Yep. Seeing no other public comments or pleasing petitions, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So,